Would you ever spend $10,000 on a snow shovel? Well, if you want to see what that looks like, stick around. So the backstory here is that we had some pretty severe winter weather about a month ago. We had an ice storm, followed by a blizzard, followed by another ice storm, and the snow in between those layers of ice was extremely wet, very heavy, and then it all froze because it got to be about 10 below or 20 below, something like that. So I had my driveway at my house just buried in snow because the snow plows had thrown all the road snow into my driveway, and I had no machinery to clear it out. So I went and I bought a $20 snow shovel and immediately realized that it was totally inadequate. So I bought what I thought was a very expensive snow shovel at $60, and it was a much better snow shovel. But now I realized that the operator was the limiting factor. And honestly, I just could not shovel out my driveway. There was so much snow that was so heavy, that was so hard. And it was then that I realized that if I wanted to clean out my own driveway, I was going to need a much bigger, better snow shovel. And this is what that turned into. So this is a Vermeer S800TX. It is essentially a mini skid steer. So it's a tracked unit with a boom, a lifting capacity of, a working capacity of around 800 pounds, and it can really lift much, much more than that, but you risk tipping the machine over. This is the most expensive snow shovel I think a person should ever buy, but I'm actually really excited. So part of me feels like this is going to be a money pit, but I don't know. It also could be a huge asset to me at my house. A gentleman had this and sadly passed away, and his son was selling it as a set. So the trailer, the mini skid steer, this is a pair of forklift forks, a bucket, and this basket all came together. And so that means that not only could I use this piece of equipment right away, but I could also haul it. I'm going to do a quick walk around and point out some of the things that are not so great about it that I will essentially have to work on before I use it. To really see this in action, it's going to take another video because I can show a quick video here right now of us testing it out before I bought it, but to really see what this can do, you can go watch some other videos of landscapers, all the tree work and yard work they do with these. It's really impressive how much work you can do with these little machines. And it's not a terrible surprise because they actually have quite a bit of power in my mind. So the engine on this is a Kubota diesel engine, and it is rated at 40 horsepower. This engine in the later versions of this was derated to 25 horsepower, but it's really the same engine. So this engine is used in a lot of small equipment, and it's a pretty powerful little engine. So 40 horse in a diesel in a machine this size is a lot of capability. In many ways, the defining characteristic of these mini skid steers is the operator station. So the operator actually stands on and in the back of these machines as they operate it. So as odd as it seems, this is how you get in the mini skid steer. You step onto the back, start it up, and you drive it around, sort of like you're playing an arcade game. So you have good visibility of what you're doing, and if in the middle of anything you need to get off and do another job or make an adjustment or inspect something that you're working on, you just step off the back and the machine waits for you. Okay, so I said that I would point out things that were less than perfect, and the area that needs the most work is the undercarriage. So on any tracked machine, generally the tracks and idlers, sprockets, rollers, everything that keeps the tracks going, that is considered the undercarriage. It's basically the drive system outside the body of the machine itself. So in my case, my undercarriage is not terrible, but it just needs some work. So one of the first things that you want to look at on any track machine's undercarriage is the drive sprocket. So if you ever see a track that looks like this, where it's kind of triangular, the highest point generally is the drive sprocket. And the teeth on the drive sprocket are really what you want to look at. So these, to my eye, look really small, but the reality is that this vintage of drive sprocket, so the drive sprockets in this vintage of the machine, were actually fairly narrow. So even though at first I thought these were severely worn, it's more that the design just had a narrow tooth on it. That being said, they do have an updated sprocket with much wider teeth, and so I might do that at some point. But for now, these sprockets are okay. The other thing you have are a rear idler that carries the track around the corner, a front idler that carries the track around that corner, and then all these rollers. So these rollers are what actually carry the weight of the machine as you drive along. And they are essentially really important, right? You know, they're carrying the weight. So what happens with the sprocket is the teeth wear. What happens with the rest of these normally is that the bearings will go out. So these are metal rollers, but there's a bearing that lets it roll easily and carry the weight. So if you try to move this, you know, the weight of the machines should be on these, and so they should not be able to move. You can see that one there moves quite a bit. That means, and I can even spin it. So that means the bearing is out of that. So basically this is a bolt going through, you know, just a chunk of steel that's just kind of hanging out. So that needs new bearings. I could also just replace the whole roller itself. If you ever are looking at one of these, just check all of those. Try wiggling these back and forth and see if you can wiggle them. So this one is loose, but then look at this one down here. So this one, if I go to roll it, it is super, like it is just toast. I don't even know what happened to it to make it that loose, but it's like it's totally destroyed. The bearing's gone, or I don't even know. Maybe it's missing the inner portion and somebody put it back over that bolt just as a placeholder. But that one is really, really bad. And I did not realize it was that bad actually before I bought it. But when I was driving it, you could really hear something making a terrible racket, and I knew it was one of these rollers. I just did not realize that it was that bad. So this is going to be the first order of business actually, is to replace that roller right there. So how do you get the rollers off? Well, you first have to remove the track, the rubber track, and then the roller should unbolt. It's sort of like removing the tire of a car. You need to jack it up, take the weight off of it, and then start to take things apart. It's actually fairly easy to do that on a machine this size. If you have a bulldozer, it's a lot more work to remove the track. But in my case, it should be fairly straightforward. So first I need to get it off this trailer and then jack it up so I can take the track off. So that's going to be a job for tomorrow perhaps. For tonight, I'm actually just going to have the mission here of taking this off the trailer and then starting to clean it out, because all the dirt that is hiding in the crevices on this machine, to me, just make it harder to assess where maintenance is required. So I'm going to go ahead and get it off the trailer and then start cleaning. So I unchained the mini skid steer from the trailer, and now to get it off the trailer, I actually need to hook a pickup up to the trailer so that the front of the trailer is secured, because it's a tilt deck trailer. So I'm going to start this up to let the engine start warming up a little bit, and then I'm going to go hook a pickup up to the front of the trailer. So to start it up, on mine the key is on the right side. Glow plugs, because it's a diesel, are on the left, and it is cold, so I'm going to turn the key ahead, hold the glow plugs for about 10 seconds or so, and then let's see if it'll start. So now we're ready to release the tilt deck. So we unlatch that, so now the deck will tilt back as soon as I drive this ahead and the weight transfers towards the tail. So it's off the trailer now and ready for a general inspection and cleaning. I also lifted up the front using some cribbing and its own hydraulics so that I can more easily assess the rollers, idlers, and the rest of the undercarriage. But for tonight, actually it is getting late and cold. My phone is about dead and I'm about out of memory to record footage. So everything is telling me to wrap it up for tonight, and maybe I will start this again tomorrow. So you're welcome to follow along on this journey with me. Hopefully this turns into a fruitful endeavor for me and my house. But if not, well, I hope it's entertaining for you. So for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.